Can anybody hear me? If you guys can hear me, type in chat, please. Great. Can you see my screen? If someone could type, I see your screen or something like that. I see a lot of yeses. Cool. All right, good morning, guys. Yeah, I'm just waking up, so I'm going to be pretty slow mentally. That's okay. Hopefully I can stay on top of this. What I want to do to start off is let's talk about the Verge chart, just where we've been at. Hopefully you guys are at least pretty keyed in, given that I've been pretty close on the coverage. But I think calling almost on every little micro top, which is a little bit insane. That's pretty tough to do, even if you've been doing this a while. So let's back up. I'm gonna show both in Motive Wave and in TV. I like TV for some of the trading view, for some of the technical views, and you get a nice price action view that's live. My Motive Wave feed seems to be a little bit delayed. So I'm just seeing how many people are on. We got a good deal of people on. This only is allowing 26 people. Well, that's terrible. Hopefully that's wrong. Huh. All right, well, someone's going to cut off, I think. So if we look at Motive Wave, we back up on the daily count. Since getting the coin market cap data, I've been tracking this as the last wave of a third wave, which targets, I'm getting different numbers depending on how I work the fibs. But if we are in a bottom, we potentially actually top somewhere in the $2 range to the $4 range. This is, I'm getting a little bit of an interesting projection off of 1-2 here that could go more extended if the retrace itself was very shallow. So if this announcement really pushes price, it's going to sort of open up the count in a different way, which I'll be on top of course, but it's just something I'm watching for. So this right here says $9, and this is a projection off this one too if it ended up shallow, but ideally on the daily count we have a top in this zone, which is actually it looks like it's displaced, but it's up as high as $4. So somewhere between $4 and $9 is reasonable. Preferred would be about $2, and then of course there is the possibility that this is a B wave top, and then we come down and as low as 0.015 would be pretty ideal. So that would be the bearish case. If we look at where we're at from the March bottom, if you've tracked my analysis very closely, this is very much a diagonal. So if we look at this wave one, we've got an ABC. This is a 3-wave move, and that's not impulsive by nature and really sets us up for something corrective. However, fib-wise, we've continued pretty nicely through a diagonal count. It is possible to count this as had finished just last night with this white count. The problem with this is that if you just experience-wise, in the ABC of a wave 3 of a diagonal, you usually have an extension in time in the C, and you usually don't see the 3, which is right here. Whoops. The white 3 here being this close to the wave 1 while the wave 5 is this far out. So that's my personal problem with it, and I would rather see this red count fill out, which would be this is an AB of the 3, and the top of the 3 is here, and then we would see the red 4 and red 5 out here. So that would be much cleaner as a diagonal and something I'd prefer to see. Would someone mind posting on the site that we were maxing out at 26, and I don't know why I've got a limitation. I'd appreciate that because we're maxed out right now. Unfortunately, anybody else tries to join, it seems like it's going to cut them off, and I'm not sure how to change it. Well, let me see, actually. Yeah, I don't know how to change it, unfortunately. Someone could post that, that'd be great. And then I'm recording this for posterity's sake, but yeah. All right, so so basically I would ideally see a red count fill out. and then get this wave 2. And it's the wave 2 that will create the launch pad for wave 3. Hang on one second. All right, someone's got some noise going on. Let me see if I can mute it. Okay, I've got you muted. Can everyone hear me still? Okay, great. Okay, so that's kind of the context. And so when you have a diagonal like this, it's pretty bad price action, and there's really nothing terribly bullish about it, unless it really fills in the wave 5. And we really require to see that, in all counts, see that corrective retrace in 2 to prove it out. So as long as we fill out 5 waves and get 3 back, then we can start to count this as an impulse or the beginning of a new impulse. But the problem is when you have all this overlap in an ABC, you can also think of this as nested 2s, but the problem is you have several. So you would have a 1, a 2, a nested 2 here, and then be building another potential wave 2 here, or 3, 4, 5. So it gets super messy as a nested 2 count. And really, when I look at this right here, which is the white 3 or A, it really counts better as an A wave because there's no really defined 4th wave within that. So it's an ABC, and there's a little tiny 4th wave of C in there. So it's really clear, in my point of view, to be a corrective structure and really not very impulsive. And that just creates a problem for us in terms of being very bullish on it. So now, if we break out, I said last night, if we break out over 21 cents, I really can't argue with any kind of very bullish count. But let's see. So then the question is, where are we at right now? Ideally, if this is the wave 4 count, or sorry, the red count, we would be seeing the A wave right now. So let's label that just for kicks. That would be, so if we say this is red 3, then we would get an ABC to a 4. And so it is potential, actually, that little top right there is the B. And this is just simply moving fast. And it's, if you've been involved in Elliott Wave analysis for a long time, or been on the site a long time, that often it is news that speeds up our counts. It's a catalyst for the count to play out very quickly. And that may be what we're seeing right now. So we could be seeing a quick wave 4. Now, if the white count, we're already in A, potentially, of wave 2. So let's move that over. So this is how tough it is when we have a non-standard structure. Hang on one second. Someone's got, Franco's got, posted dude. So that's where we're at. And if you look at the structure and in TradingView, I like to see it very closely. It looks like we have 3 waves. So A, B, C up into a B wave top. So that's my take right now, actually, is that we're seeing a B wave top in that's what we're seeing right now in this structure right here. So that's where we're at. So I guess we'll have to see what happens in 5 minutes and see what kind of news we have. Is there any questions at this point in time, given the context we have? So if you look at where we're at, if you look at the action right now, we only have 3 waves down. So let's zoom in on motive wave. The problem is my motive wave feed really doesn't come in very well. Go back to TradingView. So if we look at this, we may actually be creating 5 waves of C right now. So we've got 1, 2, 3 down. and 3 waves up. And if this wave goes back lower to here, then we have 5 waves down, which would be forming the C wave. The question I have right now with the announcement, is it possible that we create a very deep C wave, you know, in the next 5 minutes? And it's very possible. And we end up down here and get a nice buy zone. And then if we look at, you know, the white count, you know, at the 0.063 zone, we have the 38% retrace right there, and that becomes the potential high shallow wave 2. So here's our wave 2 right here. So it is very much possible that we get a wave 2 bottom right there and get a launch point. One thing I like to do is use extension fibs, and if I do a extension between the top of wave 5 or red 3 and the bottom of wave 2, if we get over, I got a reading of 21 cents last night, but if we start to get over 19 cents, there's a risk of a real launch. So if you look at this box right here, this would be an ideal top for red wave 5. But if we get strong over 19, get into the 21 region, and particularly the 25, then we're very much in a launch potential for this wave 3, which is, depending on where 2 is, it could be up in this $3 region. And so we start to see a long climb up into that level. Do I have a sell order? So I don't, you know, personally, I don't keep sell orders on any exchanges. But yeah, certainly if we start dropping below 0.3, I would be selling. That would be, to me, a warning, particularly if there's 5 waves. It would be a warning to me if it would be a warning to me that we would be going down to 0.015. Charlie, go ahead and stream it if you want. That's fine. I'll sort of take the forgiveness. I'll ask for forgiveness if we have an issue with Elliott Wave. I mean, Rich will be fine with it, I'm sure. But if he has a question, that's cool. Thank you for asking permission. Put a link in the yeah. So the XBC PT chart. Let's see. Let's pull it up. It's definitely cleaner. I think, you know, Japel and you and Gad, I think you guys have seen it the way I've seen it. I probably haven't looked at it very closely, but I do view us as, I mean, at best, a 1.38238 hit would be a wave 3 top. So it could be 3 of 3, but I think it's a bit cleaner as a 3. And then that we would expect that the wave 5 comes in at the 178. So I would count it this way. Personally, that's the way I'd prefer it. I haven't looked at it for a bit, so I could be mistaken. But there's a little 1, 2 here, 3, 4, 5. Let's count. Let's put that in subwave in. I'm doing this pretty quickly, so often when I study it, I may have a different view, but I would count it this way, looking at it very quickly anyway. See if there's anything wrong with that. And then we have A wave 4. But if you look at this is actually very similar to a diagonal count for the USD. So yeah, and I can't. And one of the problems, Chipel, is that I don't have all the intraday data into MotiveWave. I've kind of divorced myself from TV, from doing counts. I can't stand it. So I've kind of haven't stared at it much. And this is where my intraday data cuts off because I built it at that point. So I'll have to check out what you've got. So that's where I'm at. I'm on that. But I mean, ideally, I still see personally one way. You know, it's enough to be done potentially in either diagonal or if we have a low 1, 2. But I'd still rather see 4, 5 on this count as well. Personally, that's just me. But let's see. Let's go back to where we're at. I mean, we still haven't seen 5 waves in C, so it may be this ends up being corrective and we see either a higher B or into the announcement, or a even a rally. If this is done in a correction, then we could rally potentially, but it's very shallow. And so we could see this as a wave 4. I'm going to label this just. So this is very much possible. We start launching after the announcement, then I would have to count this as done with circle 2, but I don't think that's very likely. Very much possible. Again, over 19, and then I think we've got a launch situation. What I'm personally waiting for is to see if this gives us 5 down here, and then we end up retracing and then get a C and we get a deep cut into the 7. It actually would not be surprised at all, because this is not impulsive in my point of view off of that low. So this is the announcement right here. We've got a nice price drop. Does anybody see the announcement, who the partner is? I don't even know where to check. Guess I can check Twitter. Yeah, it looks to me like we're going to get that deep C potential here. This is like Fed day. If you guys trade the regular markets, start seeing gold and S&P 500 going crazy. It's always a fun day. Sometimes Forex too goes nuts. Yeah, let's see, his feed is so delayed. Drives me nuts, but it's better for Elliott Wave. Something was announced. I'd be drinking beer now if it was late enough. It's got coffee instead. Yeah, I've got my Bittrex count, which is where I usually trade Verge, sitting on the side here. I'll take a trade if it hits into that low 7-6 region personally. I wouldn't bring my position back up to full, but I would give it a partial. It's a weird structure right now because if you look at it, this looks like an ABC to me to here, and its potential, this is 5, but the way this is extending right now is pretty interesting. It may actually form a WXY or something funky, because I would not count this as 5 down. I mean, it's possible this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it's a bit messy, and this is 2. I don't know. That actually looks pretty good. So if we go, let's label this here. I hate using these tools now, but let's go ahead and label this. If we do this, again, I'm not doing any fibs right now, so this could very much be wrong. If we count that as 5, it's really not very nice as a 5-wave move. Doesn't separate properly in the 3. But if we say there's some slippage here, it's possible. And then we end up in the 3rd. And again, I'm not using fibs at all, but you would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you would start to see, potential. Let me see if I can do this in Motive Wave. It's just not great with this low resolution. So I hardly even see it, but yeah, it only goes down to 8.084, so it's not even projecting that far. 200 extension is at 0.084, so it's possible, but I'm more comfortable looking at this as a 3-way move. So this is 3 waves down. So if we go 3 waves down, 3 waves up, 3 waves down, then you'd expect a B wave to top somewhere in this zone. So again, I'm not doing fibs, but you would expect a B wave top somewhere in here. And the alternative interpretation is if you think about this little area right there as a wave 2 down, this is a 3, 4, 5, then you actually have a 5 wave move. It just doesn't look very clean. It looks like it's a very extended 5, but sometimes that symmetry is if you look at the symmetry between 1, 2, 3, that symmetry is a clue that it's corrective. So just visually, so I can see this going both ways right now personally with no real edge. And if you look at technicals, it's actually pretty nice. So I've got a really strong move up here, and then we're just going kind of corrective. So if this turns and breaks, then we may have a bottom, but price isn't really saying that right now. Someone saying Amex is the partner, that would be incredible. That'd be big. See if we can find out. Like the Verge account's toast. The Verge account is toast. At least that's what I'm getting. Everyone's hitting the Verge account right now. That's funny. Oh man, well, I can't even get on Twitter right now. Let's see if Verge website's working. That's working okay. I don't know where they put their news. See press. Let's see. So they're announcing Pornhub on well, I don't know what I'm looking at. Is that someone who just posted that? We know that Pornhub is a partner of some sort. Hopefully that's not it. Right now, the price action is pretty darn weak. That's for sure. And I expect lower from here based on this action. So I'm looking at what you said, Japel. So you're saying this is A equals C right here? Ah, okay. So we're not really clear who the partner is, are we? It sounds like it's Pornhub, and that's the right one, but it's that doesn't sound like the global payments leader that they suggested, unfortunately, which is what everyone would like to see, right? So far, this is pretty boring. So let me do some fibs on this guy. It looks like we're in a third wave right now, and I think we do have, I think the way I drew this, so I haven't done this in so long, but let's see. Want to work. There we go. All right, so if we have a third wave, get rid of this guy because it's confusing. We have a target of 0.07, which is really into our wave 2 territory. It may just be the A wave. So if this is a third wave down, based on our trading view fibs, we're talking about this. So let's put a line here. That's what it looks like to me right now. We're in third wave down. So third wave would be, get rid of these. So third wave would be 0.075 would be normal, and then roughly this is roughly the 4. I don't have my fibs on there anymore. With a wave 5 bottom of 0.07. So that would be A, B, C. And this could be our wave 2, but the issue is we don't know yet whether, so I'm not going to rush to buy personally because, oh shoot. So we could have a bigger ABC down into the 0.04. We just don't know yet. So if we get into this 5 wave, we complete this pattern down into the C. I don't know if we're going to hang on long enough. I'm going to probably cut this off at 7:30, but I'll follow up on the site. But if we get, let's see what happens when we get to the 5 of C, which is at this 0.07. And then if we're corrective out of there, then we have a B wave and another wave, C wave down. So that's going to be the game plan. It's pretty clear right now. Yep, nice third wave. Beautiful. Sometimes it just takes a real break of price to know you're in your third wave. And if we don't have a 4 and 5, we don't have a little 4 or 5 here yet. So 1, 2, 3, and we expect a 4 and 5. So we already have extension. So this third will not stop. So we got a little crash going on. And then what we really have to be afraid of is that this turns into a leading diagonal, and that would suggest that our top was a B wave top. But we don't really have a nice structure for an impulse down into the 0.05. That was nice. We got a nice hop right at the 1.618. But I don't think we had a 4 for 3 yet, so we probably are in 4 of 3 right now. Anyway, this is a 3-wave move. It's super clear overnight. Sorry, down into the low right before the announcement. And so if we do get an impulse down into the below 1 cent or 0.015 region, then it would be a leading diagonal basically. So this would be either the A of 1 or all of 1, and then we would have a correction, and then we'd drop much deeper. So I don't think that's what we're going to see. But right now, to me, it looks like we're going to get some extension. So I can't say exactly where this is going to land, but it looks like between the 0.07, the 0.06 region, we may have ourselves at least a temp bottom, and then we'll have to see if we get this B wave or if we get an impulse out of this region. I'll post on the chart. So I would count this. There's a potential. We had that nice hop at, I'm looking at a 1 minute chart, so it's a little small. We had a hop right here at the 0.618, and I would call this 4 of 3, and right now we're starting 4. So we've just got an extension. So what I do in that situation is use the 2-point tool. Let's see if I've got it. Yep. So 0.073, and then if I call this the 2.09, and let's turn it on, and it would give me a wave 4 target right in the zone. So a little bit of an extension. So I would expect this little box to be our wave 5 bottom, potentially. Get rid of this trend line. So, and then I would expect a wave 4 up to hold this box. If we don't hold this box, then we may have a WXY bottom, WXY bottom. So let's put that in there. So that would be it. It's pretty nice. So we may have a B wave down, and then we'll get a higher C for 4, but it's also big enough potentially. And so this could be the start of our wave 5 down already in A, C of A, or my label's right this way. So we'll probably know by this afternoon whether we've got an impulse out of this zone or we end up with a B wave. We'll probably know that today. That's my expectation. So is it confirmed that it's Pornhub, or is it somebody else? I mean, it sure doesn't sound like the global payments, internet payments company that we all were. I'll post this on the site. I have to say that's such a lie. Porno. It's like global payments. Okay, maybe I would call it global merchandiser or something else. Jeez. Of course. Wah, wah, wah. Yeah, it looks to me like we're already in 5 of C. We'll have to see if we get further extensions and get past this 0.067. Let's see, do we have any divergence? We don't have any divergence here, and we're still getting a strong MACD. It may not hold it at all. If I look at this. Yeah, we may have an extension in 3. Yeah, it's on Forbes now, so yeah, now we know. I don't know what you're saying. Move the 1-2 over. Standard as an impulse. You're saying 1, 2, 1, 2 like this. I just don't like this as a 5-wave move. I mean, it could be. It just doesn't look right. Move to the right. I don't know what you're saying. Okay, cool. All right, there's our, wow, a nice gap up into that. That looks like our wave 4 right there, unless it's the bottom. Could possibly be the bottom, but let's see if it passes. We got extension to 0.067. That's getting interesting. Yeah, we're actually got a bottom now, the way I count it. Yeah, so I'm counting just as I've counted it. Got a little short right there. I'm surprised. Well, we'll see. But ideally, we've already passed over the 0.5. So if we hold over this 0.077, we likely have some sort of bottom, and it could be a B wave, just the way it's moving. I don't know if we can stand to watch this price for another 30 minutes. We'll have to see. I might hang up in about 15 minutes now that we know. But I think now I'm personally of an opinion that we get a B wave, and we start to, just based on this action, you know how gorpy it is. It's really not an impulse, and it really doesn't know which way to go right now. We've got gaps and all sorts of things. My feeling right now is that we get a B wave. My feeling right now is we get a B wave, and then a larger C wave down into the 0.04 region. So let's draw where this is just my feeling and intuition right now, based on technicals. We also have very strong technicals down into that low, which suggests it's our A wave. And so I'm of an opinion, and I'll post this in the room, that we take this path, and that we see our low in the 4 region before buying starts again. Right now we've got underwhelmment, I think, with the announcement. All right, guys, I'm going to hang up. Unless anybody has any questions, we can also talk in the room. I'm going to go ahead and hang up, and then we can follow this up. All right.